talk about Gemini, which this story has been going on for a while. We have no resolution, but we do have some more antics, and that is that Gemini is going to sue Genesis in court. It's going to sue DCG founder Barry Silbert for alleging fraud. They, of course, owed $1.2 billion for the fallout after Genesis went into Chapter 11 filings. This all stemmed back from the collapse of Three Arrows Capital, a huge hedge fund that went under about a year ago, this time last year. And Three Arrows Capital had a lot of money out on loan from Genesis, and that went up the stack to DCG, which owns Genesis. Over the last 9+ months, we've seen Genesis, DCG, and Barry Silbert go back and forth with tweets, letters, comments. It's kind of been pretty messy, to be honest, but at the end of the day, Genesis earned customers are owed a lot of money and they want it back, and they think that Barry Silbert is the person who needs to pay them. Just, of course, a disclosure, CoinDesk is owned by DCG. Jen, I'll throw this one to you. You've been in the hot seat covering this on First Mover. What's been your general takeaway from this whole saga? This is obviously a new level of escalation.
Yeah, well, I think this is just another story that highlights the intermingledness that kind of led to this contagion and domino effect that we're dealing with now. I want to point to one of the tweets in the thread by Cameron Winklevoss. He says, from the beginning, Genesis acted in concert with defendants and with defendants' active support and encouragement, induced the Gemini earned lenders to lend by touting Genesis's purportedly robust risk management practices and a supposedly thorough vetting process of the counterparties to which it relent the assets. The filing said, then he says, those were lies. I think these are really big allegations to be making. And it's interesting that we're seeing this play out on Twitter. Will, like you said, it's been kind of a messy back and forth on Twitter with comments in different filings. And I think that this is maybe a decent strategy to show Gemini earned customers that something is being done. And the Winklevoss twins are taking this very seriously. They are holding the people who they think should be held accountable to the utmost accountability. And they are broadcasting in their own words along the way. For me, that's like the really interesting part to follow with this story, given, all of the lawsuits and bankruptcies we have. This is what stands out in this one. I think I saw your hand go back up, Will.
Yeah, just to clarify myself, Gemini is suing DCG and DCG is owned by Genesis. So I kind of jumbled that at the beginning. But to your point, yes, this has been continuing forever. There's a lot of different entities involved here. It's been very messy. I mean, just think of the Gemini side, right? Everyone who is involved with Gemini was probably an earned customer here that was chasing that 7.6% yield. And when that collapsed with the fall of 3AC, all those funds became stuck within this whole program. They're trying to get their money back out. So there is thousands of entities involved with this. I think Gemini was one of the largest retail products out there. And at the same time, there was that lawsuit with the SEC, I think back in January or February with the SEC saying that the program that Gemini and Genesis were running together looked like a security. I don't know where that one ended up. I haven't seen any updates recently, but it just goes to the point, like a lot of these products, there's a lot of people involved and there's no clarity on the situation at all, even on the legal side. Danny?
Yeah, to me, it seems like the base of these allegations stem from the risk management department, right? Because let me think, it's Gemini, right? Yeah, I get the G's mixed up, but Gemini is saying that Genesis induced customers to put money in by having or purported to have a very robust risk management department that really didn't follow through because it didn't catch 3AC. Now, in crypto, it's sort of become a meme, right? When these companies blow up, people buy the T-shirt that says, insert company name here, risk management department, FTX risk management, Genesis risk management, because we always joke these risk management departments just aren't up to snuff. So what I'm excited for in this suit, if it moves forward, is the discovery process, because then we might get a chance to better understand how Genesis's risk management department actually operated, because that would be at the key of these fraud allegations if it was fraudulent in presenting itself as robust and doing its job, or really if it just didn't have the controls that it should have. So that is the big tell that I'm looking toward in this case, even though that's probably months, maybe even years down the line.
Yeah, DCG tweeted just as we started the show that the Gemini lawsuit is a publicity stunt. It says that it is blameless and defamatory. It's quite a long tweet, so you can go and read it. I think that this kind of comes back to the fact that it's all being broadcast on Twitter. I think reading like this is a publicity stunt, it's easy to draw that parallel. But at the same time, Danny, I agree with you. I look forward to seeing the discovery and seeing some of the evidence behind the claims that are being made here. Will, last thoughts?
It's going to drag on for a while. If you are sitting in Gemini Earn account, I guess you are on the side of the Winklevoss twins, but maybe not. I think the whole industry is sort of watching this one and hoping that there's a peaceful resolution. So we shall see.
I need to correct myself from our first segment. Apparently, I said blameless. That was just a blunder of my mouth on a Friday. You know, can't always get the words out correctly. BCG called Gemini's lawsuit a publicity stunt and said it's baseless and defamatory. So there we go. Fact checking myself.